What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video, and we're doing things a little bit different this week because of the international break. The normal content for next week, like the team selection, the game week preview, the deadline streams and stuff, will not be happening this week for obvious reasons. So what I thought I would do instead is do a little bit of a team review. So show you the part of how I did in game week 4 from the team selection. Then next week, obviously, I won't bother doing that again. And also talk about why I'm thinking about wildcarding, which to some people seems a little bit crazy with the team that I've got and the scores I've had, but I'm still thinking about it. So I want to go through my team, talk about the wildcard a little bit, and then I'll probably have a few more wildcard videos later this week. So let's jump into it. The international break is definitely a good time to kind of sit back and think about your team. There will be quite a few price changes, but not maybe as much as there was in the past. In the olden days of FPL, when I first started playing, a lot of people would wildcard in the first international break because there'd be so many price increases. And there will be some, like Kane went up last night. I'm sure some's going to go up tonight or in the next couple of days. But there's not usually as many as there used to be. So wildcarding just for value is not as good as it was. But if there's lots of players that you want to put in, there is still some value to be gained. And even if they don't go up 0.2 or 0.3 this week, they probably will over the next couple of weeks given the fixtures, especially around those Spurs players. So I've not hit the wildcard button yet, but I am thinking about it. So I'm going to go through my team, how it did in Game Week 4, and just talk about the players that I may be thinking of shipping or having kind of second thoughts on, or a few slight worries, whatever you want to call it. So I got 75 minus 4, which is good because when I looked at my team on paper, I was thinking 70 to 80 point week is definitely there. It's definitely there for the taking. I didn't get points where I was hoping to, like Trey Adams didn't come through. De Bruyne and Foden both blanked, hugely frustrating. I'll talk about them in a sec. But obviously, James Rodriguez absolutely smashed it. 2 goals and assists and a 3 bonus. And Salah came through to me with captain. So 75 minus 4, that's pretty much halved my rank and put me up to 468k, which the way this season's gone, I actually think that's pretty damn good. I'm pretty happy with it. It would only take another couple of good weeks to really get up into the kind of 200, 100k mark, and then I can really, hopefully, push on, because I've had seasons like this before where it all goes downhill, start making bad decisions. That's one thing that's playing on my mind with the wild card. So most people are going to look at this team and say it doesn't need wildcarding, right? And I would agree, it doesn't need wildcarding, but if I manage it correctly, when's it ever going to need wildcarding, right? You'd hope that it wouldn't, because you hope that you bring in the right players and you don't bring in duds. You hopefully don't get any injuries and, whatever, test positive for COVID, etc. So that it doesn't necessarily need a wildcard, but there are some changes I would make. So what I'm going to do is go through the players and how they did in Game Week 4 and then talk about why I might consider wildcarding. So one of the reasons I didn't do it in Game Week 2, and by the way, there's a lot of reasons not to wildcard as early as Game Week 2, but one of the reasons I didn't want to do it is because of Southampton having, I think it was Burnley away and then West Brom at home. So McCarthy's now got 2 clean sheets in a row. A 9-pointer is a nice way to kind of finish off the Game Week or Game Week 4. Like, it's a huge boost to your score when your 4.5 million keeper gets a 9-pointer. So really happy with that. Trey Adams didn't score again. I mean, look, he has to go at this point. I don't think I can hold him any longer. I still don't think it was a bad pick. Like, I see people in the comments saying you're obsessed with Trey Adams. Like, why don't you change him? But I find it really weird how people manage their teams. Trey Adams is 6 million down to 5.9 million. He's not the biggest priority for me to get rid of. I'm not expecting a huge amount of points every week. So far, my transfers in have been Luka Dean and Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez has been a success. Then I did a Aubameyang to De Bruyne. Okay, it didn't work out. De Bruyne has blanked twice in a row, but I didn't captain him anyway, so it didn't really affect me massively. But again, I do that move on paper every single season. And then this week, instead of doing Trey Adams out for whoever, like, let's not pretend that I would have got Watkins in or something crazy like that. I did Werner and sent Maximin to Foden and Jimenez, which didn't work out. But I don't know, Trey Adams has not been a priority for me. But now the fixtures are going to get a little bit tougher. Chelsea away, Everton at home. I am going to probably look to get rid of him because he is probably going to drop in price again as well. So let me start back to the back. So McCarthy 9-pointer, great. Sice, brilliant. Like, Wolves, a little bit worried about them going forward, but in defence, still looking pretty rock solid. Fulham didn't carve them open too much. There was that one chance in the second half where Mitrovic passed it to Kamara. It was just him versus the keeper. He only had to put it either side, left or right, and that was it. McCarthy wasn't, Patricio wasn't going to save it. It was straight at the goalkeeper. It was awful. It was the other way around. Kamara taking the shot and Mitrovic shooting. I'm sure that would have been a goal and the clean sheet would have been gone. But Sice kind of, I checked at like 65 minutes. He was nowhere near the top 5 bonus points. And then all of a sudden by the end, he's right up there with the 3. And he ended up getting 2 in the end. So really happy with an 8-pointer. Luka Dean 6 million hasn't been value for me. He got that 12-pointer in game week 1. I didn't really need it, but the fact that I really strongly considered him in my game week 1 squad, kind of thought, yeah, okay, he can do it. I need to get him in. Then he blanked. Then he got an assist and 6 points total last week, and then he's blanked again this week. Hugely frustrating, to be honest. Obviously, Basuma scored right at the end, which made him lose another point as well. But apart from that wonder goal and Pickford making a mistake, like, it should have been a clean sheet for Luca Dean. Like, it's so frustrating that he hasn't got points yet. But he is this kind of player that can get like 1s or 2s and then 12 or 15, right? We know how attacking he is. Next fixture's against Liverpool, so it's not necessarily ideal unless they play like they did against Aston Villa. But then the fixtures are pretty good for Everton up until like game week 10. So I'm not in a rush to get rid of him, but I know if I wildcard it, I would get rid of him. So that kind of tells me that I don't have to keep him, but there's also no rush to get him out. So I'll probably hold him at least another 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks unless I hit that button. Trent Alexander-Arnold, what the hell happened this week? Like, it was insane, right? Man United lose 6-1. Liverpool go and lose 7-2. I mean, at least Man United had a red card. By the way, ridiculous that Lamela wasn't red carded as well, but I won't go into that in this video. But yeah, crazy situation, down to 10 men. Son and Kane fully took advantage. They look really good this year. Kane almost back to his best at this point. Like last season, the end of last season, post-lockdown, I kind of said a few times, there's glimpses of him looking a little bit better now. He's had his rest, and that's what we've said he's needed for a while. And he's coming to this season, he's looked brilliant. So those two looking really good. But yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold conceding 7, absolutely crazy, -1. That's not going to happen to you too often, but Adrian's in goal now, and Alisson, Klopp has said, is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Whether or not he's back in 6 weeks, I don't know. But obviously with the international break, it's probably like 3 to 4 game weeks. So last week I'm suddenly thinking, how do I get Robertson in? I need double Liverpool defence. And now I'm thinking, do I even need one defender? Like, if I was going to wildcard right now, would I consider going without Liverpool defenders? I probably would. The only thing I would say is Robertson is basically playing like a winger. I know everyone said for ages, Trent and Robertson, they're like midfielders, they're like wingers, they get clean sheets. But it's a different level that Robertson is taking it to this season. Like, the amount of times he's in and around the box is absolutely insane. So I'm not in a rush to get rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold, but the fact that Adrian is in goal does worry me hugely because he's just nowhere near the level of Alisson, especially for the style they play. So take Man United, for example. Forget Dean Henderson for a second, right? Last year, when David De Gea comes out, Romero steps in and does a pretty good job. Man United do try and play out from the back, but not to the extent that Liverpool do. When Adrian comes in, he's just not that comfortable on the ball at all, right? You can see it. His passing, his distribution is not as good. He panics more. That's not going to help the way that Liverpool play. And also, not all those goals were his fault. Like there's like 3 deflections, I think, as well. There was mistakes in there, not just from him, although he did make a mistake for the first one. And coming in when your number 1 keeper is injured, you want to try and make an impression, get into the team, and then he gets 7 goals against. Like, that's not going to give him any confidence. So I am a bit worried about my Liverpool defence going forward. But again, talking about priorities, taking Trent out, especially when it would probably be for a hit to fund another move, is not really where I'm looking right now. Let's move on to midfield. So am I worried about bringing Foden in? I mean, even when I brought him in, I kind of said to other people, if I had money, I would have got Harvey Barnes. To be fair, he didn't do anything either this week. But I just know that eventually Foden's going to be a worry for minutes. So am I going to get rid of him this week? Probably not. Again, unless I wildcard, which is going to be the key theme to this video, because he's not playing over the international break, so he'll probably play in game week 5. And Arsenal at home is a pretty good fixture for Man City. I'm a little bit worried about them not having a proper number 9 like Jesus or Aguero in there. But I think they'll probably do quite well against Arsenal. I know Leeds did exceptionally well outside. I mean, the first 20 minutes for Man City were great, but Leeds did really, really well after that, and they kind of nullified a lot of their attacks. I mean, there was that chance where Sterling was through on goal, and for whatever reason he cut back. Maybe if he'd scored that, we'd be thinking differently, but Foden I'm a little bit concerned about. But I guess for his price and a team that is going to score a lot of goals this season, as long as his minutes are okay, he will still be good value. But I'll tell you now, he is someone that I've thought a lot about how I move him on eventually. So if we're talking about players in my team that are kind of up for getting rid of sooner rather than later, Foden is probably right up there. James Rodriguez, I mean, has the thought crossed my mind about selling him? Yes, but I can. He's got 30 points in the last 2 home games. I know he's blanked outside of that, but he's got like 36, 37 points over 4 game weeks so far, looking incredible, creating so many chances, by the way.
And then also getting on the end of a couple of goals as well. There's going to be more from him. I got him for 7.5. I think he's up to 7.7 or 7.8 even now. So he has to stay for me. And Everton just looking really good. I know a lot of people are saying you can't predict this season now. There's no patterns, there's no trends. I'll tell you one trend. Everton have been good from game week 1, and people said, oh, it was just Spurs. Oh, it was just West Brom. Oh, it's just Crystal Palace. Oh, now it's just Brighton. They're a good informed team with a great manager. And as long as they get some, like even without Allen, I know they conceded 2 goals, but even without Allen, I thought they defended pretty well. Like I said, big mistake from Pickford, an absolute worldie of a volley from Bissouma. Apart from that, they didn't hugely trouble Everton. Decore was brilliant, Sigurdsson was brilliant, Tom Davis was pretty damn good as well, especially when he even had to go to right back when Seamus Coleman come off. So we'll have to keep an eye on Everton because they have got quite a few injuries. Gomez, Richarlison went off again as well. Allen and even Seamus Coleman now, and John Joe Kenny is injured too, so they don't have a fit right back at the moment. We'll have to see how long these players are out for, but Everton looking very good. Kevin De Bruyne, if I could swap him to Sterling right now, I probably would. The thing with De Bruyne for me is I just don't see him keeping up the amount of assists from last year. Is he going to get a lot of assists? Yes. Is it going to be the rate of last year? No. And we know, I've said this all along, from open play, Sterling's the better bet for scoring goals. It all comes down to penalties. Now, if over the next couple of games, Man City get a few penalties, then suddenly I'm okay with Kevin De Bruyne. But I'm never too sure about 100% kind of captaining him. I'd always rather have Sterling, who just looks like he can get a goal at any point. So again, I'm not panicking on De Bruyne, but if I was wildcard, I probably would make that switch. And Salah, honestly, I just don't get what he needs to do for people to respect his FPL performances. He already had, people have gone without him. People have decided not to captain him for whatever reason. 26 points, 2 goals versus Aston Villa. You know, everyone was saying Aston Villa's defence was decent. I mean, they did well, to be honest. Liverpool didn't get a huge amount of chances. But as always, Salah does what he does. He gets points. That's now 6 returns for him in the first 4 games. More than 1 return a game, that's pretty good. I mean, what more do people want? So Salah absolutely in my team. He's my main captain over the next kind of 4 or 5 weeks. People will. The weird thing is, people haven't captained him. Well, not everyone, of course. He's still been heavily captained, but a lot of people haven't captained him because of Man City. But now he's scored, they're going to captain him. But actually, I'm looking at Man City for game week 5. So I don't think he's permanent captain. Although, to be fair, he'd get you a lot of points if you did that. But I do think game week 6, game week 7, especially, I think not necessarily game week 8, but 9 or 10, you could look at captaining him in as well. So he's a great option. If you don't own him, my only question is why not? No one's essential, I get it, but he does make life a little bit easier when it comes to things like captaincy. So loving him. Up front, Adams needs to go. I'll talk about who I'm looking to get rid of him for in a sec. Calvert-Lewin, legend, keeps scoring, absolutely stays. And Jimenez, like I said, I'm a bit worried about the Wolves attack. Not looking to necessarily knee-jerk him out. But what I can see myself doing in a few weeks' time is going cheap up front. So Calvert-Lewin, Antonio definitely. And maybe over Brewster and then go 3-5-2, or someone like Morpay in as well, and go for 3 really cheap players up front and maybe put more money in defence or in midfield, whatever it might be. So that's what I'm looking at. So Trey Adams, I've got Luke Shaw on the bench. He needs to go. Not a good option at all. I'm glad I benched him this week, of course, and he should have been sent off as well. So I could do Luke Shaw to Ayling at Leeds and then upgrade Adams to Morpay for a hit. So that would be my 3rd hit in 4 weeks. But I do think doing that without having to use the wild card, when I'm already doing pretty well rank-wise, why not use a couple of those points to kind of go forward again? And getting more pay in could be a decent option going forward. And I just think Shaw's going to probably drop in price. Che Adams is probably going to drop in price. They're not 2 players I want long-term anyway. I might just do it. The key consideration for me is how do I get Son in? The answer is I can't without further hits. Either De Bruyne down to Son, but I don't really fancy that if KDB is my captain this week. Jimenez and Foden out, but then that's 12 points just to get Son in. I'm probably going to go without him for another week or 2, and I'm going to strongly look at getting him in unless I wildcard. So people, let me just quickly touch on the wildcard before I stop the video. People will say, why are you wildcarding this team? It does look great, right? I do think the team overall looks really good. Are there players that I would change? Absolutely. So if I was wildcarding, De Bruyne would change to Sterling, Jimenez and Foden would be gone. I'd probably go for a front, depending on whether I go 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, I would get Antonio in now. I know the fixtures aren't great, but I'd probably just get him in ready for game week 8 when the fixtures do turn. Calvert-Lewin, Morpay. and then look at getting Son in instead of Foden, basically. And then in the back line, probably putting Chilwell in there, Ayling instead of Luke Shaw, and change the goalkeeper for Messier or Martinez at Aston Villa. So that's only kind of one or two big key changes, but it means I can get Son in before his price rises. I get rid of Shaw and Adams as well before their price drops. Bearing in mind, people like Son are going to keep going up in price anyway if they keep performing. Luka Dean, okay, he's not a must-sell, but if I get someone like Chilwell in instead, potentially, for Chelsea, I think they're going to do good for clean sheets, like I've said all along. And he's going to be pretty attacking for less money. That could be an option. So there's lots of kind of peripheral players I would change as well as the core ones. Or go 3-5-2, Antonio and Calvert-Lewin up front. And then basically Salah, Sterling, James Rodriguez, Pulisic. So get ahead of the game on there because he's back now. And Son. That's a pretty damn good midfield five. Now people are going to say, what would your defence be? It would be Robertson, Ayling, Lamptey, who rotate really nicely. I'd still have Sice, and then I'd have Mitchell as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But I'll do a wildcard draft video later on in the week. Am I going to wildcard? I don't think so. I think if I was going to do that, I would have already hit the button. But it is something I'm strongly considering. So I know that was quite a long video when I'm just looking back at the team, but I wanted to kind of talk about everything that happened this week, especially for my team, because I'm sure a lot of people are knee-jerking. Like, my knee was going crazy yesterday watching those games. So I'm looking pretty good. I think I can probably just take a hit and fix the team for now. And then if one thing to end this on that I'm really thinking about is De Bruyne and Foden to Son and Pulisic. So that would mean no Man City. But if I don't need them for captaincy, that might be something I do if Son keeps this up. Harry Kane is someone I would like, but there's just no way I can fit him in with this current structure. But he is looking good. But yeah, De Bruyne and Foden to Son and Pulisic, or whoever it might be, Son and Barnes. I could do that, and it would give me more money to put into defence or up front if I wanted to. So that is something else I'm considering. So lots and lots to process. That's how the team did. Let me know how you did in Gameweek 4 and what you're thinking of going forward. So that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. Like I said, a little bit different, but I wanted to go through that before we do the proper team selection next week. I will have more videos this week, so if you've not already hit subscribe, make sure you do that. Hit that notification bell as well. So we'll be looking at fixtures, we're looking at the watch list, we're looking at wildcard drafts. I'll probably rate some of your wildcard drafts too. So plenty of content coming all this week. If you've enjoyed this one, please do give it a like. The support has been incredible this season. Please do keep it up. And lastly, I just want to say, if you want to support me and the channel a little bit further, I do have Patreon. You can check it out, link in the description below, patreon.com/letstalkfpl. And as part of that, there's a shout out for everybody that's signed up to Patreon. So this is everyone that's already signed up to support me and the channel, so much appreciated. And I also wanted to give a shout out to the two new people who've signed up since the last stream or video, which is Christopher R and Chris T. So thanks very much. There's Slack access, there's WhatsApp access, there's team reveals, there's Q&As, extra content, all that kind of thing. I also put all my YouTube videos up as podcasts on there as well. So if you want to check it out, link in the description below. I'll catch you soon for another video. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you soon.